Hey guys, Peter here to do an album review. Today I'm here to tell you about the debut record Heart Healer, the metal opera by Magnus Karlsson, out March 12 on Frontiers Music. The album has 10 tracks, 61 minutes in length. Perhaps as you can tell by the name, this is a project led by Magnus Karlsson featuring 7 different vocalists, including Annette Olsen from The Dark Element, Adrienne from Seven Spires, and Noora from Battle Beast, amongst others. Now, this is a concept record that tells the story of the Heart Healer, played by Adrienne. Her ability to heal others with her touch comes at a price, and that price is her own draining of her life force. She loses a little bit of herself every time she heals someone. But she wakes up not knowing who she is or where she is or having full understanding of her own powers. This is the story, this is the concept. And this is not just there as far as the lyrical content is concerned. This concept permeates throughout the sound and also throughout the structure of the album. And the structure of the album starts off with the opening track featuring just Adrienne as she wakes up, as the character wakes up and starts to learn a little bit about herself and her surroundings. So you as the listener almost become that character because you don't know more, you don't know less, you know exactly what the character knows, and you get to know more about the story and the character itself as the album progresses. In the middle, you have ups and downs, ebbs and flows. This is a very dynamic, cinematic record that the structure really allows itself to play that way, to not be linear at all, to just have abrupt changes from track to track, different momentums, different parts of the story call for different soundscapes, call for different experiences, and the structure from that perspective delivers on every single turn. Then the album closes off with a track, This Is Not the End, that features all 7 vocalists together. That's the only track where all 7 of them sing together in one song. Throughout the record, you're going to get a mixed match of all 7 of them, but in the end, they all come together to close off, or at least give you a little bit of a cliffhanger as the album comes to its end. Now, as far as the sound is concerned, you can say that this is an album that has big sound, big experience, but I actually don't think those 2 words are enough to really give you a notion of what this album has in store. This album is big. It really matches opera with metal. It has that opera vibe as far as the storytelling is concerned, as far as the sound approach goes, as far as the structure, the lyrics, all of those elements really give you that sense of theater, that sense of cinematic approach and how to create a story and how to present it to an audience. Then the metal portion comes in as far as the behind the scenes soundscape that allows the album to have a little bit more life, to have a little bit more present, to be a little bit heavier and really push you forward and really ignite your attention as you progress through each and every single song on this album. So I love the soundscape that it has. I love how it's presented and how it ties in with the overall structure that the record has in store. Now, once you get deeper into that soundscape, in my opinion, there are 2 driving forces behind it: the orchestration and the guitars. As far as the orchestrations are concerned, this is one of the best records as far as defining momentums, as far as defining sound, and really creating a soundtrack for what the story has in store for the listener. I just love the sound experience. I love the orchestrations, so well defined. The timings are perfect. They tie in perfectly on each and every single song, getting a little bit more keyboards here, getting a little bit more of a piano there, getting a little bit more of a guitar melody here, really understanding everything that the orchestration can do in order to elevate the story, in order to elevate the characters, in order to elevate the volume, the presence that the record has in store. I've heard a lot of albums that fall into this genre. This is one of the best albums as far as orchestrations are concerned. Then the next element, the guitars. My goodness, it's a clinic of guitar playing. You're going to get a lot of neoclassic style guitar approach as far as this record is concerned. Sure, there are some heavy riffs, there are some heavy momentums depending on what the track calls for, depending on which part of the story you're in. You may get a little bit more bite out of the guitars and even out of the drums to a certain extent. But the neoclassic approach is there in the melodies, is there in the riffs, and definitely it's there in the solos. This record is packed with incredible solos. They always add something to the song. They become sometimes the cliffhanger within the song itself. They capture the momentum of the track. They bring something out of the verses. They bring something out of the chorus. They pack it together and really allow you to really digest the songs from a metal perspective in a much easier and faster kind of way. They allow the record to be a little bit softer from that perspective. Not necessarily softer as far as the overall sound, but softer in terms of how you perceive the album and how you're able to better understand the the story by how the guitars sound and how they travel through this record and how they help you navigate through the album itself. Once you get into the vocals, I mean, what's there to say? You're gonna get 7 incredible vocalists on this album. 7 incredible vocals. And I think the most important aspect of having 7 different vocalists that all have something different to offer, they all have their quality, they all have their niche in terms of what they can give to a specific record, is understanding the dynamics that they have. How can we implement them together? How can we allow these 7 voices to coexist on an album and allow them to have their own space, their own freedom, their own ability to grow and still be part of a much larger picture? To me, that is the key factor for an album like this to work from a vocal perspective, because from sound-wise, the album is perfect. Now, this is the key element. Does it work that way? I felt that it did. The only issue that I had vocally is that sometimes you feel like there's not one voice that really breaks out of the mold. They all have their own individual approach. They all have their own individual tone and delivery. But sometimes they're too close together, and it would have been nice to have 1 or 2 voices that are slightly different, slightly more in the outer edges, to give you more of a break, to give you more of a clear cut, understanding that this is a different character, this is a different part of the story, this part perhaps is a little bit darker, it has a little bit of a different ambiance, of a little bit of a different atmosphere. And I felt that at times the voices felt too close together in order for you to really feel that break, to really feel that difference. But as far as the quality, as far as the ability to understand where one needed to end, where the other one needs to start, and how can we get the most out of them, allowing them their own space to coexist and live and breed and grow and still work well together, I think it's perfect. Overall, I love this record. This is one of the best releases that Frontiers Music will put out in 2021. I have no doubt. When you look at the quality of the sound, when you look at the quality of the artists involved, when you look at the quality of the vocals, how it was recorded, how everything came together, the mixing, the mastering, the orchestration, this album is nearly flawless at every single turn. Talk about really bringing a story to life in an opera, in a metal opera format. A lot have tried, a lot have come close, but I think this album really pushes itself to the edge. It really raises the bar and perhaps even becomes the bar as far as this style, as far as this genre is concerned. Now, as far as favorite songs goes, I want to start off with Back to Life. This is a great track that features Ailyn, Margarita, and Adrienne on vocals, and has a little bit of a slow build up, but it gains volume, it gains presence, and it really becomes a song that has a little bit more of a controlled sense in the verses, controlled musically and vocally, and then the chorus lets loose, becoming a little bit more bombastic, once again, musically and vocally. But the vocals really guide your experience, they really guide your path, not only from a storytelling perspective, but musically as well, from how the song is put together, how it's all structured. It really allows you to have a better sense of where you are, where you need to go. But it merges perfectly these two slightly different ends of the spectrum, the verses and the chorus, coming together almost perfectly, almost seamless, allowing the song to be dynamic, to be vibrant, but not to be broken between those two worlds. Next, When the Fire Burns Out, a song that features Netta, Ailyn, and Youmna on vocals. Really interesting track. I love the sound of this song because the piano is so predominant. It really starts off with the piano, and that becomes one of the main focuses of your attention, even though the piano sometimes drops a little bit more into the background, almost becoming a layer as you navigate through the track, but you could always hear it. And it allows the song to have this incredible melody. It allows the song to be this beautiful, almost stripped down metal ballad at times, but still be very enigmatic, still have a lot of sound, still have a lot of presence and others. A song that has this incredible up and down feel between melancholy and melody and power and robust sound and robust presence. It has such an incredible dynamic that really allows the song to live and have energy and be powerful. But I love how it sounds. I love the symphonic balladesque attributes that this song has, allowing it to be one of the strongest, one of the most impactful songs, and perhaps one of the most emotionally driven tracks that the album has to offer. Last but not least, Mesmerized, featuring Annette, Olsen. Quite the bombastic track. I mean, I wasn't actually expecting anything else when I saw that this was going to be a solo performance for Annette on this track. and she delivers. The song delivers musically, and then she delivers vocally. An incredible song top to bottom. It has a lot of volume, it has a lot of thickness, not just musically, but vocally. But they alternate styles and they alternate momentums. So in the verses, the song is a lot thicker from a musical perspective, a lot thinner as far as the vocals are concerned. When you get into the chorus, musically the song gets a little bit more stripped out, but vocally it becomes thicker because they used backing vocals, they used layers on top of Annette's vocals in order to give a little bit more substance, in order to make the song a little bit thicker, a little bit more volume, and creating this paradigm between the verses and the chorus, between music sounding a lot bigger in the verses, the vocals, like I said, a lot thinner, and then in the chorus the reverse, giving you a different opposite direction, but still allowing the song to be very connected, almost like these two lines like intertwine themselves as you progress from the beginning all the way to the end of the track. I just love this exchange, I love this dynamic, and I really like what they did there with adding backing vocals in the chorus. It makes the overall song feel a lot more robust, it gives a lot more presence, it gives it a lot more substance, without necessarily making the track heavier. It just makes it bigger. This is it, Heart Healer, the metal opera by Magnus Karlsson, out March 12th on Frontiers Music. Let me know your thoughts on the band, on the singles. Use the comment section below. I'll be reading those and getting back to you. Take care, guys.